Let's be real for a sec. Most of what you think you know about mammoths comes down to that cartoon with the baby mammoth looking for his mom. Cute, pure tissue trauma material. But forget all that, because the real story of the mammoth isn't some bedtime fable. It's more like a Tarantino script, overblown, brutal, and things go spectacularly downhill at the end. First off, the name. Mammoth sounds massive now, right? But it actually came from the Mansi language, Mang-ont, which just meant earthhorn. Locals would find these tusks sticking out of the ground, figure they were from some underground demonic moose or whatever. In other words, the OG name wasn't for some majestic beast. It was for some mystery spare part poking out of the dirt. Later, in Russian, it got mashed up with the church name Mammoth, meaning sucking mother's milk. The journey from earthhorn to total mama's boy. Now that's an etymological downgrade, and that's the baggage we're taking into the world of the mammoth. And man, what a world! Contrary to pop culture, mammoths are not elephant ancestors. That's like saying Neanderthals are your grandparents. They're more like weird evolutionary cousins who split the family tree around 6 million years ago and just eyeballed each other from across the timeline. Their story started in Africa, 5 million years back, and then they went full rock star, conquering Eurasia and North America. And these weren't just furry elephants. North America's imperial mammoth? That dude was 5.5 meters tall and weighed up to 14 tons. Imagine a 2-story country house that just decided to grow legs and start grazing. Compared to them, modern elephants are like buffed-up ponies. And there were dwarf mammoths too, only 2 meters high. Picture a mammoth the size of an overfed dog. Evolution seriously has jokes, but the real plot twist was in their mouths. Mammoths got up to 6 sets of teeth over their lifetimes. Not like us. Baby teeth, adult teeth. The end. Their teeth worked like 90s printer cartridges. One wore out, the next one just rolled in. And every tooth? Outperformed your dentist. Ridiculous enamel plates, custom built for grinding nightmares of tundra grass. When Europeans found these beastly teeth, they couldn't even believe it was a tooth. In Valencia, people worshipped one as a holy relic of Saint Christopher. Literally, people prayed to the cavities of a prehistoric beast. In France, someone paraded a mammoth femur around, passing it off as St. Vincent's arm. Makes you wonder how big St. Vincent was if his arm was the size of a power pole. This wasn't just an animal. It was a walking myth generator, fueling religious awe and medieval confusion long after its death. Surviving the Ice Age isn't just about being big and hairy. You had to be a survival machine, and the mammoth straight up nailed the brief. Let's start with the obvious. Fur. We're talking meter-long coarse hair with a thick, warm undercoat. That's not a winter coat. That's a portable yurt. And that's just the beginning. Mammoths had ears way smaller than elephants. Not because they hated gossip. It's Allen's rule. The colder you live, the less you want body parts sticking out and freezing off. You know how you bury your nose in your scarf in the winter? The mammoth did that with genetics. Same story with the tail, short, so it wouldn't snap off from frostbite. But now, the weird flex. The woolly mammoth had a hump on its back. For a while, people thought it was just weird spine bones, but nope. It was a fatty storage hump, camel style. But this wasn't for sandy deserts. It was a snack bar for surviving frozen hell. Imagine carrying a beanbag-sized emergency energy reserve strapped to your back. The trunk? Not just a glorified straw. The tip split in 2 finger-like nubs. It could grab grass, shovel snow, and even drink from snowbanks like a built-in cup. Swiss Army knife, not an organ. And those tusks? Oh, let's go. Up to 4 meters long and 100 kilos each. These things weren't just for showing off or fighting saber-tooths. Mammoths used them to strip tree bark and dig through ice to get at frozen plants. Imagine your teeth growing outside your mouth, twisting into a spiral, and you use them each summer to till your backyard. Grow all your life, up to 25 centimeters, almost 10 inches, a year. Even cooler? You can read their whole life story in those tusks. How old, when they starved, if a lady was pregnant. A biography carved in enamel. All these upgrades? Massive energy required. An adult mammoth had to eat between 150 and 300 kilograms of plants a day. 300 kilos. That's 4 grown dudes and salads every single day. They weren't just grazing, they were industrial lawnmowers, shaping entire continents. They didn't just live in their ecosystem, they built it. And when an architect like that drops out, the whole construct starts to crumble. So imagine the perfect survival beast, the king of the Ice Age, and then, poof, gone. That's the cold case of paleontology, murder on the Pleistocene Express. Suspect number 1? Small, bipedal, pushy primate who just figured out fire and stick figure art. Yup, humans. The indictment: we ate them all. When Alfred Wallace, British naturalist 19th century, saw ancient camps loaded with mammoth bones, he knew it wasn't just neighbor problems. It was a slaughterhouse. At Mezherich, in today's Ukraine, they found literal houses made from mammoth bones dated to 20,000 years ago. Let that sink in. You kill the animal, eat it, then build your hut from grandma's skeleton. That's like a cow eating a farmer and using his skeleton for a barn. Archaeologists find mammoth vertebrae and scapulae with spearheads still stuck in them. Not accidents, hunt to the bone. And the grim math? Scientists in Madrid crunched it. To wipe out all the mammoths, each human just had to kill 1 mammoth every 3 years. Once every 3 years? That's not genocide. That's fatal routine maintenance. And mammoths were slow to bounce back. 2-year pregnancies, 1 baby at a time. Their population was a sluggish, low-yield investment fund, until humans showed up like a raider and tanked the market overnight. The Clovis hunters in North America? They turned this into an art form. They targeted young males booted out from the herd full of hormones and zero street smarts, textbook prey. Corner him, spam him with spears using atlatls, that's a spear thrower, for the noobs. The animal didn't die quick. Blood loss, wounds, slow agony. Meat then got stashed in permafrost pits for later. That's not just dinner. That's tactical bacon stockpiles. Fake fact. Some next-level tribes reportedly even tamed baby mammoths, using them to haul cargo, and as living tanks in tribal wars, at least until they got too huge and psycho to handle. But here's the clincher. Timing. Mammoths survived dozens of climate shifts, warming and freezing over. But as soon as Homo sapiens showed up, the mammoth population free fell. Eurasia, America, wherever humans landed, megafauna vanished. We were the virus. Mammoth was patient zero. Brutal. But every good whodunit has a twist. The defense? Humans are just scavengers picking up scraps from the real Ice Age killer. Name: climate. Picture the world of the mammoth. Not endless snowfields like some animated movie, but the so-called mammoth steppe. Vast cold plains covered not in moss or lichens, but packed with nutritious grasses. A giant 24/7 all-you-can-eat buffet. But then, around 14,000 to 11,000 years ago, they started clearing the table. The Alarude warming kicked in. Climate got not just hotter, but crazy wet. Dry grasslands got replaced with swamps. Grasses went bye-bye, mosses and pine took over. Mammoth apocalypse. Like all your favorite restaurants close, and now it's just celery shops. Not death by hunger, death by blandness. Researchers led by Glenn MacDonald, UCLA, crunched a mountain of data. Mammoth populations tracked with climate swings. More in cold periods, fewer in warm, with southward migrations. But the last bout of warming. Too much, too fast. The ecosystem couldn't pivot in time. Extra moisture meant deeper winter snow. For a mammoth with short legs, that's hell. Can't walk, food's buried deep. They burned energy digging for less nutritious food, like grinding at a job where inflation eats your whole pay. One nerdier theory? Mineral starvation. With all that swampiness, vital minerals washed out of the soil. At the Berylyok Mammoth Graveyard in Yakutia, Russia, 42% had bone diseases from mineral deficiency. Animals would flock to riverbanks to eat clay and get trapped in mudslides or floods, coming for medicine, finding mass death instead. So, is humanity off the hook? Not completely. Archaeologist Yuri Sarakov argues mass mammoth hunts were rare, too dangerous. Humans probably finished off sick, stuck, or dying stragglers. So yeah, we were the Ice Age cleanup crew, with spears. But even in cleanup mode, we tipped the balance. Imagine, you're sick, hungry, your world is falling apart and some little pest comes and pokes you with a stick. That's how it went. Climate smashed mammoths. People landed the final blow. Not so much murder, as negligent euthanasia. The end of the mammoth wasn't some epic fiery Hollywood finish. It was slow, painful extinction at the furthest edges of the map. When the mainland was already a ghost town, the last mammoths escaped to remote islands. The most famous survivors, Wrangel Island in the Arctic Ocean, off Russia. And time got weird there. These mammoths died out only about 4,000 years ago. 4,000. The Great Pyramids already towered over Egypt. Pharaoh Tutankhamun was ruling his empire, and meanwhile, way up north, the last woolly giants still wandered ice-blasted islands. But they were smaller than their mainland ancestors. Classic island dwarfism. Isolated, inbred, doomed. Genes went stale, bad mutations piled up. They were the walking dead, a shadow of lost glory. Another tragedy, on St. Paul Island in the Bering Sea, the last mammoths vanished about 5,600 years ago. Why? Stupid, tragic reason. They ran out of fresh water. Warming and rising seas flooded lakes with salt. The giants of the Ice Age died of thirst. Peak Greek tragedy. And even after death, we still can't leave them alone. Thawing Siberian permafrost spits up more mammoth remains every year. Enter mammoth fever. People hunt the tundra for tusks. Legal trade hits 100 tons a year. The black market's probably double. It's a turbocharged business feeding poachers and ivory carvers from China and beyond. We still can't leave their graves in peace, not even millennia later. Provocative fact. This whole hype around mammoth cloning? It's more PR stunt than real science. Even if you whip up a viable embryo, where are you going to grow it? Surrogate elephant mom? And then what? Plop it into Pleistocene Park in Siberia? It'll be alone, no herd, no ecosystem left for 10,000 years. That's not resurrection. It's life sentence in the saddest theme park in history. So the mammoth story isn't just a lesson on extinction. It's a mirror we all hate looking at. Proof that even the world's mightiest life can be utterly fragile, and that a single species convinced of its cosmic greatness can bring down the giants. In the mammoth's trial, we were jury, judge, and probably executioner. And that verdict? No chance of appeal.